Hey, so this is going to be a comprehensive look at the 6-inch premium Timberlands, and believe it or not, there are a lot of differences between the same model based on where they were made, and that affects the construction quality, affects the leather quality, and all of that. So we'll start out with the on the right pair. The right pair is, you were to look, it's a Bangladesh model. It's the same model. 173. This pair on the right is the same model, but it's in, let's see, 173, and this one is made in the Dominican Republic. So even though they are the same boot, there's massive differences in actually how they fit. These are both size 12 in men's. These are not the wide width versions. So if we were to look at a pair of the Bangladesh model, look at the width of the toe box and look at the width of the Dominican Republic version. If I were to put them side by side, you could see that the Dominican Republic version is actually wider. I'm a size 12E on the Brannick, and I wear a 12 or an 11 and a half in Timberlands. These are both going to be 12s. I have a lot of models here of the premium version, so I can compare it to you guys. So as you can see, it's going to be a lot wider than the Bangladesh model. Now, not only is the Dominican Republic wider than the Bangladesh model, the leather is also vastly superior from my own experience. I've owned how many pairs now? Like over 10 pairs of the premium Tims. And I could confidently say that the Bangladesh model is inferior in the construction quality and the leather quality. Timberland is a pretty mass-produced boot. I'm not sure on what the differences in the factory process is for each, for the boots, but I know that they use different lasts, because there's no way these are the same last. A last is the what the boot, the leather is wrapped around while they're making the boot. That forms the shape of the boot. And as you can see, yeah, the left pair, the Dominican Republic pair, is a lot wider. I've always questioned this myself, like why are my Tims not fitting properly? I've had my first pair of Tims was a Bangladesh model, and I was like, it just didn't really fit. Like my outer pinky would just keep rubbing against the outside of the boot, and it would cause a lot of like fitment issues. So I stopped wearing that pair. I got another pair. This is the pair I'm wearing right now. This one is made in, if I can show you guys, the Dominican Republic, and this pair is wider. Yep, wider. But I didn't want to compare a used pair to a new pair, so I just got another. I got actually a few more pairs to compare. Now, the reason why I know why the Asian-made version of the Timberlands are not as wide is because I've had many pairs of Asian-made Tims, and they've all had this consistent attribute of just being narrower, and the the leather quality is just not as good. As you can see on this Bangladesh made version of the Timbs, that the leather is just really stiff. There, I mean, it's supposed to be the same model, but this leather is just so stiff, and it's the same way with my first made in Bangladesh pair. You can also notice that the collar leather is also not as good. It's very it's also very stiff, and I don't see this leather really forming to your foot, and just forming to your foot in the same way that a Dominican Republic pair would. As you can see, this worn pair is just really supple and pliable, and it wraps around your ankle, and it's really comfortable. You compare that to a newly made Dominican Republic pair, and as you can see, it's really just pliable, it's really supple. Here's the other version on the other side. It's really supple. This will form to your foot. The collar leather, I've noticed they're similar, but I've noticed that the leather on the Dominican Republic pair, filling them side by side, yeah, they're different quality. The Bangladesh pair is much stiffer, doesn't feel that great. The Dominican Republic pair is more supple, it's softer, it's more pliable leather. Okay, so not only are they wider in the Dominican Republic pair as opposed to the Bangladesh pair, the quality is also different. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just a fluke and they're actually the same, and maybe it's the Dominican Republic pairs that are, like one-offs. Maybe they're all supposed to look this narrow, and the pair I got just somehow are just more wide. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out another pair of Timbs. There's also a brand new pair. Close this. This pair is made in the Dominican Republic. All right. So as you can see, compare it to the side by side of the Bangladesh pair. You can see that the Dominican Republic pair is just wider. The Bangladesh pair, it just looks like it's a banana. It just kind of caves medially, as compared to the Dominican Republic pair is wider around the pinky area. This one is just way narrow, and they're the same size. So this really, it just boggles my mind how the same boots made from the same company in the same size, the same model, same color, could be so different. So the sizing is not even consistent amongst Timberlands. Bangladesh, you see, it's just very skinny at the top, very narrow, and it kind of caves inwards. Here's a pair of Dominican Republic, wider. Another pair of the Dominican Republic, wider. Another pair of Dominican Republic, wider. So, yeah, this just, and I grabbed another pair of Timbs. This is not the black one. This is the, pretty sure this is 161 is the wheat Timberlands. These are, they're still pretty fresh. Got a little bit of stains on them, but honestly, they're boots. I don't really care. If you look at the toe box, it is wider as opposed to the Bangladesh pair, it's just narrow. I don't understand why that is so narrow when compared to the Dominican Republic. It's like it's a whole width size more narrow than the Dominican Republic's. It's just a lot wider. Bring it back to the original. Very, very narrow. See that? Versus this. Just wider. I mean, I can pull out, more Tims, but it just wouldn't really prove anything else because, I mean, in the end, the Bangladesh pair is just more narrow. It doesn't matter. I can pull out more pairs, and all of them, all of my other ones are Dominican Republic made pairs, and they're all wider than the Bangladesh pair. So very, very stiff leather. It's just the consistency is not the same. Even the midsole is not the same. This is the midsole. Pay attention to how thick that is, as compared to the Dominican Republic pair. Look how thick that midsole is. So we were compared side by side. Bangladesh pair, Dominican Republic pair. They're not consistent. They're not consistent in quality. Even the tree is different. On the Bangladesh pair, look at the tree. On the Dominican Republic pair, look at the tree. So side by side, the tree side by side. It's just duller on the Bangladesh pair. There's more detail on the Dominican Republic pair. The lines under the tree are thicker on the Dominican Republic pair. This one is just more narrow. And I know these aren't fake. So before you guys say, oh, they're fake, the Bangladesh pairs are fake. Dude, I've seen them in person. I took my girl out and looked at, the Timberlands on the shelf, and they conveniently had a Dominican Republic pair and a Bangladesh pair on display. And I noticed this, and I just told my girl, like, pay attention. Even she noticed it. So, I mean, these are not fake. I know they're legitimate because from my source, these are real. It's just that Timberland has very inconsistent quality assurance. I don't know why that is. I don't know why. This one's just very, it feels very dry compared to this one just feels a lot more supple. So, yeah, I mean, the thing with the leather is that, yeah, it's a leather-made product. So, different hides from different tanneries are going to have different, no boot is really going to be the exact same as the next, unless it's from the same cut of leather. But, leather could be different from one boot to another. But you can see it's the same consistency with my other Bangladesh made pair. It's just very, very stiff. It's just not as high of quality as my Dominican Republic pair. You guys wondering what the white is? The whiting is just rubber bloom. That's what happens when Timberland uses good rubber. It's normal. It doesn't affect the boot whatsoever. But these are brand new. It's just going to happen. fine. I can just wipe it off. It's not a big deal. Even the molding they use for the outsole is different, and it doesn't even feel like the same compound. You know, it does not feel like the same compound. The rubber compound, I've noticed on the Bangladesh made pairs, they tend to want to split. You see this line? You see all these lines like running across the rubber? Eventually, where it's gonna split, because it did split on my other Bangladesh pair. Well, on these, you don't really see the lines like that. I mean, yeah, they're somewhat there, but if the rubber is more dense, it feels more fused together. Same thing on these. It's a lighter color. You can see there's not really lines. It's more dense, and the midsole is thicker, and the quality and the leather is just more pliable. If you were to look on the inside of the boot, you would notice that the leather on the inside, around the heel, is just not as, it's just also very stiff. It feels very plasticky, the leather around the heel. It just feels very, very stiff, very plasticky, as opposed to a Dominican Republic pair. The leather on the inside, oh, look at that. You can tell it's just better quality leather. It's more supple. There's more breaks or creases in the leather. It's just a better, more supple quality leather. Much, much wider than this pair. It's not even comparable. Like, this is at least one width size smaller than the Dominican Republic pair. Anyways, that's just a look. So make sure when you're buying Timberlands, if you're buying them online, like from Foot Locker and Champs or whatever, you don't really have a say in where the Timbs were made, especially if you're buying these colors. Now, if you're buying like the colorful Timberlands, chances are they're all going to be made in Bangladesh, China, Colombia. I mean, not Colombia, but Cambodia. But if you were to buy like the original Timbs, which you should be buying, you shouldn't be buying those fucking colorful Timbs anyways. You can't really have a pick. So if you were to go and buy Timbs, I recommend going in store, picking out the best Timbs that you can find, whatever they have in stock, and getting a Dominican Republic made pair. They will last much longer. The leather is going to be better. Don't believe me? Go to your Champs, go to your Foot Locker, go to your your Journeys. Look at it yourself. I've went to multiple stores, and I've noticed this in every store, because they always have multiple pairs up, and at least one is going to be made in the Dominican Republic, and another is going to be made in the Bangladesh or China or Thailand or whatever. And you will notice that the Asian made pairs are going to be lower quality than the Dominican Republic made pairs. It's a shame, but at the same time, I kind of understand, because these are mass produced boots, but at the same time, they should at least be using the same last for the same model. That's my opinion. You guys take care.